Well, P. Diddy. P. Diddy. That's all I'm going to say is P. Diddy. So, Cassie, P. Diddy's former artist turned girlfriend of 11 years, has now accused Diddy of raping her for many years, abusing her for many years. And now the brother Diddy is under fire, you know, and what I'm going to say about it is that I'm going to say that I'm not going to take the side of anyone because I don't know all the facts. I'm just giving you my opinion on what I do know from my experience in seeing so many situations unfold like this come to light. Because it appears that every time someone gets up there and they get all of that money, we know how the abuse of power can come into play because some of us have been a victim of that abuse of power, whether it was by family members, bosses, friends, or otherwise. We have been a victim of abuse of power. So we understand how it looks, and we know how it looks when someone has a certain amount of power and they abuse that power. We know. We deal with it every single day of our lives in one facet or another, whether it's through the police, whether it's through one of our big brothers or big sisters who feel like they just own you, or it's some public official who feel like because they are in a position of power that they can say or do what they want to you and the community. They don't have to listen to the community. We understand that all too well. We talking about this brother Diddy, P. Diddy, a brother who has helped make many artists who have become superstars. He's helped to make those individuals to become the men and women that they are today in their superstar status. But that doesn't mean that he does not have the ability to commit the heinous acts that Cassie has said he committed. You know, all of that aside, all of this show business aside, we're talking about personal life. We're talking about women who historically have been the subject, the victims of powerful men throughout the history of America and throughout the history of the entertainment industry. I got tongue because I'm thinking about it as I'm talking. Women have historically been abused, dehumanized, womanized by powerful men in the entertainment industry since its inception. So now, some people would say, why would Cassie, after all of these years, she was with Diddy for 11 years, all the way up until 2018. Why would she now come out and say that Diddy had been raping her for so many years, had been abusing her for so many years, had been taking advantage of her for so many years, had been dogging her out for so many years? Why would she now come forward with such heinous allegations? Some people would literally pounce on her because she just came out with these allegations. But I want to remind some people I want to remind some people, just because she waited this long to come out with allegations doesn't make the allegations untrue. It doesn't weaken the allegations because many women have suffered traumatic abuse by men, some of their own fathers and brothers and uncles have suffered traumatic abuse, and they didn't come forward to many years later because sometimes that trauma is too heavy to bear. Sometimes it's hard to talk about this stuff. Sometimes the shame is too heavy. Sometimes you scared because you don't want people to look at you in a bad light because so many people love the individual that allegedly wronged you that you're scared to come out against that person because now to come out against that person is to come out against the whole. I understand that. And that's why I understand why a woman would wait many years to come forward with allegations of abuse. Many years to come forward with allegations of abuse. But a lot of people would pounce on this young lady, Cassie, for waiting, being with that man for 11 years. 11 years. And all of a sudden, 16 years later, 16 years later, she bring up allegations of abuse, allegations of rape. Does the time make it suspect? Does the time make it suspect? Her delay in coming forward, does that make her allegations suspect, untrue, questionable? Think about that. Because I'm telling you today that I know too many women who were scared to come forward because they didn't want to suffer the ridicule. They didn't want to be stigmatized. They didn't want to carry more trauma. They didn't want to keep reliving the trauma had they just came forward at the time that it happened. So I stand with the women who find the courage and strength to come forward and speak of a story that caused them so much pain and trauma. I stand with them. I stand with the sisters that come forward even in the face of shame, even in the face of being shamed, even in the face of being verbally attacked in the media, being dragged in the mud. I stand with those sisters that do have the courage, have found the courage to come forward. I stand with you. I stand with you because I understand you. I am your brother. This is not pretend for me. This is real life. And so, as I sit here and I think, I just wonder to myself, I sympathize with sisters that have to go through this stuff. I sympathize with sisters who don't know how to deal with this stuff, who don't know who to go to and talk to about this stuff, who feel that they have no one to talk to about this stuff. I feel for them. But with all of that being said, I don't want to just jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and say, yes, that's how it happened. This is when it happened. This is why it happened. And that's that. Because there's many sides to every story. There's many sides to every story. But I don't want us to forget who we're talking about. We're talking about Sean P. Diddy Combs. I can recall allegations being made about P. Diddy from Audrey O'Day, from Danity Kane, the group that he had is Danity Kane. This was years ago, and she made allegations against P. Diddy that were very strong. But she was so ostracized after she came out against a powerful black man like that. She was so ostracized that she didn't back down, but they cast her out as just being crazy, lunatic, and everything else. But she been told the story about Diddy. And then let me tell you something else. Not only did she tell the story about Diddy, but she had gone on talk shows and told the story about Diddy. She had gone on talk shows and told the story about how he would body shame her, how he would press her. She would not give in, so he would body shame her and say, nobody is going to want you now. You don't have any curves or anything now. So he would body shame her. And now we're talking about this brother P. Diddy. Yeah, we love his music. We love his work ethic. We love the stars that he created, but we don't love anything that goes against the grain of humanity in anyone's character, whether it's Diddy or whoever else. Because we understand that Audrey O'Day didn't just make up her allegations all those years ago about the brother Diddy. She didn't just make that up out of a man. It has been other women who has made not as egregious allegations, but who have made allegations against that brother. Several women, several of his exes. And we turned a blind eye to it because the media didn't give light to it, because the media knew that this man was a powerful individual. And he was backed by so many other powerful individuals. But I'm telling you right now that it doesn't matter how powerful you are. If you abuse someone, you abuse someone. Harvey Weinstein found that out. He found that out the hard way. And so many others in that line of the Me Too movement found that out. That was the blessing about Me Too, is that each allegation was taken seriously. Each allegation was taken seriously, and I would have to say that in following the Me Too movement, many of the allegations that was taken so seriously and followed through with came out to be true. So now we're faced with another situation. P. Diddy Combs, rape, abuse, violence, threats. It was reported years ago that he bombed Kid Cudi's car, blew up Kid Cudi's car, and he threatened him beforehand, threatened to bomb his car beforehand. And then the guy's car was blown up. Come on. How long must we turn a blind eye to this sociopathic behavior? I'm not saying he's guilty of any particular thing right now, but I'm saying that the history tells a story. When you're always linked to something negative, something is wrong. And so what I'm saying right now is that the brother was linked. Audrey O'Day put him on blast some years ago and talked about him. And if you want to talk about corrupted ideas and his ideology, Mace put him on blast, talked about him. The Locks put him on blast and talked about him. At one point, Faith talked about him. So many people have talked about the way he handled his business, his character, his flawed character. And now you hear brothers like 50 Cent. Y'all heard the jokes that 50 Cent said about P. Diddy. Y'all heard P. Diddy, what he said to Fabulous about his party. Talking about he want to take Fabulous out shopping. I agree with 50 Cent. 50 Cent say, man, that's stuff you say to a woman. You want to take them out shopping. You heard the rumors about P. Diddy's sex parties. He's over the top, you know. So to hear Cassie tell her story is not at all far from what's been being said about this character anyway. That's why it makes it easy to believe. That's not to say that it's the whole truth, but it makes it easy to believe when you have a history of abusing and taking advantage of people. It makes these such allegations so easy to believe. It makes people, the public's opinion, turn against you. And when the public's opinion turn against you, people began to come out the woodwork with real stories, more real stories. And we know that fake stories come out too, but we're not talking about them. That just comes with the territory. Because had you not laid the foundation for the fake stories to come out, the fake stories, when they do come out, they would have no legs to stand on. But when you create a history for yourself, some young ladies say, Cassie always looked so sad when she was with him. Look at all the pictures, and you tell me what you see. I agree. Look at the pictures and you tell me what you see. Because I would always wonder, I didn't pay so much attention to it, but I guess it was subconsciously, I would look at pictures of him and Cass and I'd be like, wow, just look at the picture that I got behind me. Something on her mind. So listen, what I'm saying right now is that these allegations that Cassie has made against P. Diddy needs to be taken serious. We cannot cast them aside like we did Audrey O'Day back when she first talked about Puffy's character, about how he presses the women, about how he so aggressively try to dehumanize a woman, break her down. We're not going to forget any of this stuff because guess what? Today is her, tomorrow it might be you. Tomorrow it might be my daughter, my granddaughter, my sister, my aunt, my friend who suffers this trauma like so many of my friends have. That's why I speak out against this type of stuff because it's despicable behavior. It's despicable behavior. If this man did anything that she has said, that she has alleged he's done, this is despicable behavior and must be dealt with accordingly. This is despicable behavior. This is hurtful behavior. And someone just chimed in, and I didn't even think of this because I remember reading it when Jaguar Wright was talking about it years ago. Jaguar Wright. And what happened to Jaguar Wright after she put Puffy on blast? What happened to her? She got blackballed out the industry. She had a great voice. Great voice. She was going places until she talked about P. Diddy. And many people can attest to when they talk about P. Diddy, what happens to them. So again, Cassie brought out allegations that, if true, makes this man a despicable individual. A despicable individual. First of all, his professional life has been fraught with lawsuits and despicable behavior. talked about by many artists, not just one, two, three, four, five, by many artists. And now we have these allegations from a young sister who said this man has been abusing her for years. And we already know they make them sign them non-disclosure agreements. So people, these women cannot even speak out against these powerful men because they signed these non-disclosure agreements. And these non-disclosure agreements last for years, sometimes lifetimes. That's why we don't hear a lot about these allegations until years and years and years later. That's why. In this respect, we don't hear about the allegations till years later. But not a word is lost when we do hear about it. Not a word is lost. Because we addressed those allegations, I wouldn't care if it was 50 years ago. A predator is a predator. A predator is a predator. If you did it 50 years ago, you may not be doing it today, but we're not talking about today. We're talking about when you did it. A predator. So I'm not gonna say that a person who committed something 30, 40 years ago is the same person today. No, but we're not talking about the man today. We're talking about the man who committed that particular offense against that person. She said he's been doing this for years. He could very well be a changed man now. But that's not what she's accusing him of. She's accusing him of abuse during the time that he was an abuser. And that's what needs to be addressed. That's what needs to not be overlooked. That's what the media needs to talk about. Because for far too long, we sit back complacent and we allow these abuses to continue to occur. We allow women to continue to be raped and abused and womanized and dehumanized. We allow women to be at the mercy of a man who is known to abuse his power. We allow this to happen and we don't give ear to their cries. We don't recognize the pain in their face. We don't recognize it. We don't call to question how our loved one is doing. Is everything okay? If everything is not okay, listen, just talk to us. And I agree. After everybody began to put this stuff out about Puffy, that's when he started releasing masters to Mason them. And he started giving the masters to other people. Because it's so many rumors swirling around this man. And it's despicable stuff. Because I know y'all remember Usher. Y'all remember that? The allegation that came out. First of all, he was taking Usher to strip clubs when Usher was just 15. In my neighborhood where I grew up, we call that turning somebody out. We turning them out. Because if I can indoctrinate you with that idea that this is the environment that you need to be in order to succeed, then I can, and once I indoctrinate you, I can keep on planting that seed of indoctrination until I poison you so much that you don't know which way you're going. You don't know which way is up. Because you have been indoctrinated to hate yourself. You have been indoctrinated to hate yourself. And it's easy to hate somebody else when you hate yourself. It's easy to see no humanity in someone else when you hate yourself. It's easy to abuse someone when you hate yourself. It's easy to take advantage of someone, dehumanize someone, objectify someone when you hate yourself. And this is the industry that cultivates the minds of all of the entertainers. And then you get these men who rise to power in the entertainment industry, and they serve as agents of that indoctrination of corruption. They definitely feel like once they get so high, who gonna touch them? Who gonna say something? They know people in highest places. And that's why when I hear allegations such as Cassie, Audrey O'Day, Jaguar Wright, even when we heard the story from the girl Kareen Stephens, y'all remember her, Superhead, and she talked about some of Puffy's ways. She talked about some of his ways. So let's not overlook all of the red flags. So let's not overlook the red flags, all of the red flags, because there are so many that we just overlook. And after you hear stuff so much, you kind of become desensitized to it. You be like, yep, I already heard it. I already heard it. I already heard it. And sometimes we do a disservice to our own selves and to our own sisters when we allow ourselves to become desensitized by scandalous rumors. Because once we become desensitized, that means that the offender becomes stronger. Because the offender sees that no one is paying attention. So that means that the allegations that may come against him are weakened, which makes him stronger. That's why we have to stand up at all times when we're presented with these type of situations. We have to stand up. We can't back down, sit down, cower out because we look at a person that's been in some powerful position. Because we have to really start asking ourselves, what if it was our daughter? What if it was our daughter? What would we do? Would we back down? Would we want this powerful individual just to go about his own daily business and give him the opportunity to do that to someone else? Or do we want to deal with this accordingly? However it needs to be dealt with, it needs to be dealt with. So someone said that Cassie never looked like she had been beat. Well, I could counter that with a whole lot of stories of women and men whom had gone through certain abuses but never looked like it. You heard the saying that I don't look like what I've been through. I don't look like what I've been through. Personal story. I don't look like what I've been through. Some of you could not even imagine. You can't even imagine some of the traumas that I've seen in my life, that I faced in my life, that I've been through in my life. You can't even imagine it. Sometimes when I tell some of my stories to some people, it just blows their mind because they wonder how I'm still here today. So because she didn't show the signs of physical abuse on her face, doesn't mean that she wasn't being physically abused. Michael Jackson never showed signs of drug usage at all. At all. But if anybody remember, he always wore long sleeves. And that's where all the track marks were, up under those long sleeves. And so many other artists who didn't show signs of abuse, drug abuse, or anything like that. But the fact of the matter is that they were deep into that abuse or drug abuse. And no one knew. And one of the reasons that a lot of women don't come forward, it's because a lot of us will not believe them. And somebody said free Diddy. I'm not mad at that because everybody have their opinion. I respect your opinion. And again, I want to clarify. I didn't say that the brother did anything. I said if it's true that he did X, Y, and Z, then he must be dealt with accordingly. I'm big on allowing a man or a woman to maintain their innocence until the evidence comes out to the contrary. I'm real big on that. I spent 28 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. So I'm definitely not with all of that trying to convict someone and trying to make people guilty. I'm not with that. I'm fair and impartial. That's why this is just my opinion and my thoughts on the situation. If this brother did any of the allegations that this young lady Cassie has made against him, if he has committed any of those acts, he's a despicable individual and he must be dealt with accordingly. But if he did not commit those acts, by all means, we must respect this man. We all make mistakes in life. We all do some dumb stuff, say some dumb stuff, and probably gonna do some more dumb stuff by the night. And we can't be judged solely on some of the bad decisions we made. Because we don't know the circumstances surrounding it, the culture that existed. There's so many other elements to life that causes us to make bad decisions that a lot of other people don't pay attention to because they're really not concerned. They're really not concerned. Sometimes our people, when I say our, I'm talking about anyone who pays attention to entertainment. Sometimes our people, we love those traumatic stories, drama. See, we say drama, but we refuse to acknowledge that drama as causing trauma. See, we love dramatic stories. We love drama. We don't pay attention to the trauma that comes with recognizing and acknowledging and respecting and holding up that drama, that story. Because every dramatic story that you could ever hear had some trauma attached to it. But that's what we love to hear. That's what we love to talk about. That's what we love to laugh and joke about. So now, when I hear Cassie make these type of allegations, they sit on me personally because I know so many women, some close family members included, who have been victimized like that. And I've been around guys in prison, and I've asked them these stories. I've asked them to tell me the story, asked them the questions, didn't shy away from it. Man, what made you do this? What made you do that? Not like I'm better than them, but just because I'm trying to understand. And I've heard some of the stories. And I understand how some people would wield a little bit of power and they take that power and devour someone else. They take that power and they use it to indoctrinate someone. They take that power and they use it to break someone, to manipulate someone. And that's what Audrey O'Day said about Puffy or P. Diddy. She talked about how he played mind games so much. I guess that's a part of the industry when you start to get a lot of money. You learn how to play the mind game. Because it's through that mind game that people bow down to you, become scared of you, don't want to mess with you. And then at that point, people began not, you could do anything you want, as someone said one day, they could stand on a in the middle of the street in Times Square and shoot someone and get away with it. That's that power. That no one is going to say anything against me because I am powerful. I know people. And what I'm saying right now to us is that we can't be scared because someone has power. We cannot do that. We cannot cower to someone's power. We cannot reduce ourselves to someone's power because many people whom have been so powerful in their position have been broken down. They have been broken down, and we know a lot of them just since the Me Too movement. A lot of them have been broken down. A lot of them who once thought they was untouchable found out that they was getting touched. Many of them who thought they was untouchable and could get away with anything found out the hard way that there's always someone bigger than you. And there's always someone who want to tear you down or wait on and prey on your downfall. There's always someone. And so when we listen to these stories of women and men, for that matter, who have been abused by powerful men in entertainment or otherwise, we have to pay attention. We have to stop acting like, oh, it's straight. You're going to get dealt with. No, we can't do that. We got to stop waiting on somebody else to deal with situations when they occur. That's our problem today. We sit up and wait on somebody else to deal with the situation that we watched with our own eyes or that we heard about with our own ears. We can't be relying on nobody else to deal with the situation when we standing there. That's our child. That's our sister. That's our brother. That's our mother, our father. We have to deal with it. We have to address the issue and stop allowing other people to create a narrative about the situation that does not tell the truth. Whoever controls the narrative will control the mind of the people. We cannot allow a narrative to get out that is inconsistent with what goes on or what happened. We see that far too often today. The narrative is being controlled by someone who does not have the best interests of the people, or the narrative is being controlled by someone who already is under scrutiny about the falsehoods that they have already told. But we allow this celebrity worship, as someone just said, we allow this celebrity worship to continue because we are starstruck. We starstruck over a celebrity. We starstruck, and now that celebrity can do whatever they want to whomever they want to do it to, because we starstruck. We need to stand up. Stop acting like we so starstruck and stand up against the tyranny of abuse that goes on with our men, women, and children by these entertainers. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their skin tone is, how their bank account look. Wrong is wrong. We need to stand up against this garbage. We need to stand up and address it. We need to tell them to their face that we ain't buying it. We ain't buying it. Because I'm not going to allow my sister, my brother, or nobody in my family, my friends, or otherwise to be your victim. I'm not going to allow that. So we're going to put you on blast right now because we want everybody to know that stay away from you, because you mean no good to nobody around you. And we need to call these people out, put them on blast. We need to call them out and put them on blast and stop sitting back with our hands behind our back with this smile on our face like ain't nothing wrong. Because today it's his daughter, tomorrow it might be yours. Today it's her son, tomorrow it might be yours. So we got to speak up now. We can't be waiting. When we hear of allegations of abuse, and first of all, when we first hear those allegations of abuse, we need to start paying attention. First of all, when we hear allegations of abuse, we need to start paying attention. I'm going to say that for the third time. First of all, when we hear allegations of abuse, we must start paying attention. Because otherwise, that abuse is going to continue to go on. Somebody said something about Foxy Brown and Jay-Z. Hey, that's another story. Believe me. Believe me, I want to talk about it. Listen, I want to talk about it. Talking about power. You know what I'm saying? So we can't turn a blind eye to what's going on in our community with our women, with our men, with our children. We can't turn a blind eye to it, because when we turn a blind eye to it, the system loves it, because the system likes to hide these individuals that's powerful, because the system is made up of politicians and people behind the scenes. So these are the people that help fund these politicians. So these politicians don't want to stand up. They don't want nobody to talk about P. Diddy. They don't want nobody to talk about a Jay-Z. They don't want nobody to talk about these powerful Harvey Weinstein. They hated that. They hated that. They hated to hear people talk about some of their financial heroes. Some of their financial heroes. Because they knew that these financial heroes, once they're out of the economy, that large chunk of money leaves a void in the economy. So we have to protect the money. Even if that means protecting a known predator, rapist, or whatever the situation may be. Just like in the news, when they found the torso of a woman, I believe it was in a car or in the backyard of somebody, of one of the movie producers, executive producers. It was his son had something to do with it. Do you think that that's the first time his son ever did something? Or do you think that because it's a powerful individual that they keep certain stuff under wraps because they don't want to expose too much of their power? When they expose their power, it was found in a dumpster. When they expose their power, and we know what happens after that, the people start going for the money now. So now they take that money from them, and all the other money is being frozen. That means that these politicians, these judges, these other people cannot raise enough money because some of the very people that was helping fund their campaigns are no longer around. They don't have that money no more. They don't have that financial backing no more. And so my point now, at this juncture, we need to hit people in their pockets. That's what we need to do. Because if making all of this money and getting all of this money is what makes you feel that you're powerful, then we're going to start taking it. We're going to start taking it. That's what we're going to do. That's the goal. Take their money. Chop them down. Take their money. Don't let nothing they do go unnoticed. Don't let nothing they do go unchecked. I don't care who it is. Because if they equate power with money and they use that power and money to abuse people, then we got to address that. We got to address that. We got to show them that their power and their money do not control us. It don't control us. What controls me is a power that's greater than myself. What controls me is knowing that that part of me that's all in for helping other people. That's what controls me. That controls my destiny. I'm not scared to stand up against adversity, stand up against tyranny, stand up against control freaks, powerful individuals who think they're powerful. I'm not scared to stand up against them. And I don't want you all to be scared to stand up against them. Because as I keep saying, today is his daughter. Tomorrow it might be yours. Today is her son. Tomorrow it might be yours. We have to stand up now and address these allegations now. We have to stop these abuses from happening now. And again, I'm going to say this and I'm going to clarify this. I am not saying that P. Diddy did anything. I am not. What I'm saying is that if it is found that he committed any of these acts against this young lady, that he is a despicable individual who needs to be dealt with. He needs to be dealt with. That goes for him or anybody. They need to be dealt with. I don't want to make it appear that he deserved a worse punishment because he got money. No, because anyone who commits those type of offenses, if proven to be true, deserves to be dealt with. It has to be addressed. Anyone, whether you have $1 or $1 billion, we can't sit back and tolerate this type of abuse going on with any of our women or men for that matter. And I keep saying or men because sometimes when we talk about this stuff, we leave the boys and the men out of this as if it doesn't happen to boys and men. Matter of fact, Terry Crews right now, he even told his story. And he talked about how he was ostracized too. People ask him, man, why would you come out and say something like that? You a big guy. You supposed to be tough. You supposed to be this. Yeah, it takes courage to even come out to speak about it. And that's why we respect Cassie, because she's coming out to speak about it. That's not to say that we believe everything she said, but we respect her because she's coming out. We respect Audrey Day because Audrey O'Day came out and spoke about it. She was ostracized after the fact, true, but she spoke about it. And we cannot turn a deaf ear to those cries. We have turned a deaf ear too long to the cries of these sisters out here who are being abused by men, by women, who are being trafficked by men, by women, who are being assaulted, raped, molested, beaten, battered every single day. Every single day. We cannot turn a deaf ear on this. It's a song by Stevie Wonder and Babyface that say, how come, how long? And that tells the story about how we overlook certain red flags. We overlook it. Some of us sitting up in a house right now, with an individual that got so many red flags, it's crazy. But because we live under the same roof and we grew up with this person, we don't even pay attention to the red flags. Well, I'm here to tell you today, I don't care who it is. I pay attention to the red flags. I pay attention to the red flags. I may not get my bullhorn out and holler up and down the street, but best believe that them red flags gonna be paid attention to. The red flags is gonna be paid attention to, and I'm gonna make sure that anybody around me is protected from the individual that possess all of those red flags. I'm not going to allow I'm not going to allow myself to become indoctrinated with a distraction, so I don't pay attention to the red flag, so I don't wake the people up. Because sometimes I think that we miss the fact that a child grows up and we wonder why this child goes a certain way. And it's oftentimes, and I'm telling you from firsthand experience, and it's oftentimes because things that happen in the childhood has only developed as the child grew. Let me just say it this way. It's like if a child was sneaking and smoking a cigarette when he was 10, 11, or smoking weed, and he around people who smoking weed as he grows, what do you think he's going to do? If a child is around guns early on in his youth, and he learned how to play with the guns, and he learned seeing his brother shoot the guns, and now he around friends and all of them that have guns and they shoot guns, what do you think he's going to do? So now we're talking about abuse. Children coming up who have been abused, and they're around their abuser every day, and they're around the abuser's enabler every single day, and they have other siblings, and they see that abuser around other siblings and other young children, that the child began to get used to it. And as they grow, people tend to say they're a troubled child, and this call them all of these names and ostracize them, outcast them, because they choosing to rebel against their parents or whoever it is. It has everything to do with what's going on today. We are so brainwashed to overlook all of this abuse and this trauma, because it has been sitting on us. We have become desensitized over the years because we see it so much. We've heard so many of the stories, so we become desensitized. So now we see a red flag, we don't pay attention to it because we are desensitized. We see a child acting out, we don't really pay attention to it. We just say that child need a butt whooping. We don't even pay attention to it. We see the sadness on a child's face every time that child is around him. We don't pay attention to it. We see the child get nervous and start to sweat every time he come around, and we don't pay attention to it. Well, it's time out for that. We got to stop it. Allegations are constantly coming out against these powerful individuals. They need to be addressed. But we need to also address those allegations that we know exist in our communities by people in authoritative positions. They may not have the money or that particular type of power, but they have the authority, such as the teachers, such as the clergy, and so many others whom have come up under fire over the years. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I just wanted to get that off my chest because it has been on me. And I thank everyone for chiming in and listening to me, interacting with me. And I want us to know that it is wrong for us to condemn someone for allegations that have not been proven true. It is wrong for us to take a side against someone based on allegations that have not been proven to be true. But it's not wrong for us to have our opinion and stand on our opinion and how we feel about an allegation, whether it's proven untrue or true. We have an opinion. We have to use that opinion, and we have to allow that opinion to help shape how we interpret the next situation that may come about, because sometimes our opinion turns out to be based on facts. And with that, I'm going to close with saying peace and love to those within the sound of my voice. And for those who cannot hear the sound of my voice, I say pass along the message, because someone needs to be inspired.